Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back. Today, we're doing a little bit more of extended box office coverage because we have to talk about Superman. Superman just went through another weekend at the box office and did rather well. In fact, you can check out right up there a video that I did focusing on the box office from the weekend, but this is specifically a Superman-oriented conversation, and so I brought in my very own Superman. He is the one and only Kevin Apollo. How are you doing, Kevin?
My friend, always a pleasure to see you. Doing pretty good. I'm excited to talk about this. I haven't seen it yet, but the fact that the opinions have been all over the map, it is piquing my curiosity. So, but I also say, I'm glad to be talking about what we're going to be talking about.
Me too. And I've been looking forward, or had been looking forward, a little tentatively multiple times. I was flip-flopping on whether or not I was excited for Superman. And it turns out I had every reason to be, not because it's the best movie ever made, but because it was a decent movie. It was a decent Superman movie, and the box office proves it as it crosses $400 million globally. Now, here's a problem. Kevin, much of this success did not come from an international market. This is very homogenistic here in the United States. So in looking at that, do you think that maybe the superhero genre is actually having international conflict, or is it just specifically DC?
I think it's the genre in general. But I know the talking points, they've been kind of tilted towards Superman's identified with with American pop culture, and that doesn't play out well overseas because America is popular. I call people on that. These folks, when you look at the comments on certain stories, and when you look at the message boards, you see there is an undeniable love for things American, for American pop culture. Superman is almost 100 years old. He's been around in television and cinema since the character's inception. This is Superman is essentially a global franchise with roots to America. It's a story that anybody when you do it right, it's a story that anybody and everybody can jump on and be excited about. And it sticks to very super simple universal morals and ethics. So I don't buy that garbage. I just think it's the people are tired of getting excited for subpar content, and in the world where the flow of a dollar, or rather say the velocity of a dollar, is greatly reduced, people are being a lot more discerning with where they spend their money in terms of how they're going to get their entertainment. So I think it's going to be a slow burn for Superman. I bet that when it comes out on home video, it'll probably do gangbusters. But again, we'll have to see. But I don't believe the international talks about it. It's a genre problem, not a Superman, not a DC problem.
Yeah, and I think that you're looking at it from the right way. Your analysis is spot on as usual. But one of the things that I think freaks the studios out is that we are having such a lag between the $171 million from overseas revenue versus the $235 million from revenue here in the States. Now, the international markets have had difficulty reporting. They've been lagging behind, or releasing estimates rather than actual, countings of what the film has been doing. But if you continue to look at it, adding another 45.2 million in its second weekend, it tells me, first and foremost, that it's going to have a very similar box office performance to Jurassic Park Afterbirth, which also just crossed $600 million. We're also looking at maybe a repeat of something else. In fact, let's take a look at what that something else is. Batman, very similar to Batman. Did you see the Batman?
I saw the Batman in theaters, and I was not a fan of the Batman. I love the deal with Gotham, but that was pretty much about it. But I'm also not shocked, though. Again, I'm not shocked this is a similar trajectory. I think people need to be reintroduced to the DC brand. Took a beating. Warner Brothers had a lot of severe self-inflicted wounds with the decisions that they made with a lot of these characters, and there is a little bit of trust that needs to be re-earned. So people are dipping their toe in. They're not diving in head first like they used to. So I get it. I get it.
Yeah, when I look at the numbers here, I'm focusing in on the fact that maybe the drop could be around 56%.
Mhm.
With pulling in $55 million. That's extraordinary. You don't see those kinds of drops. You don't see drops that, could even be less than that. There are some reports out there, I guess, according to Cosmic Book News, that the drop could be as low as 40 to 50% domestic, which would be, again, something else like unheard of in modern cinema. Every one of these genre films, these superhero genre films, have been very front loaded, which is why when they have terrible early performance, the only thing that can save them is good word of mouth. What have you been hearing about the film? Because I know you still haven't seen it.
Aside from just them kind of being all over the place, the feedback has been pretty consistent. It's okay. It was okay. It was a good start. And listen, I know they're very different movies, but that's kind of similar to where we were with Man of Steel. Aside from comic book fans who were obviously not happy with the end of the movie, when you spoke to normies, that's kind of how I like to try to judge these things. I have to kind of go outside of the bubble. Normies were kind of in the same like happy. Well, I guess like it was okay. I'd go see another one place that they are with this movie. Where they went wrong is obviously Batman versus Superman. The anticipation for that was through the roof. People liked Man of Steel, but they were ready to love Batman versus Superman, and we got what we got. Right now, I'm sure the movie has its problems from what I've heard, but it looks like people are feeling okay and are in a good place, a better place than they were with Man of Steel. So the next time Superman appears, you just got to get it right. You just got to get it right and reward people for pumping in some hope and positive momentum into this. So. Again, an only 50% drop off. I can't remember the last time we were talking about numbers like that. And frankly, these creatives have to stop, and these studios have to stop relying on a super front loaded performance. People don't spend like that. Don't go to the movies like that. It's killing the movie theater business. I remember again, it was a billion years ago, but old school Batmania. We used to watch movies. It was a big deal if a movie stayed in the number one slot for 3 or 4 weeks. It was almost unheard of if it hit the 4. And then what were their runs? Like they were in the theaters for like 3 months, 3-4 months, or even longer.
Think about Batman '89, with the Batmania you're referring to. That was there for the entirety of the summer and into Christmas, and I mean, it just felt like that film was there forever. I mean, I don't remember specifically when it actually released. I just remember that for a year I could go see the Batman. We don't have runs like that anymore. Rarely are you going to find something like Avatar, although I don't think repeat number 3 of that film is going to go very well either. But, I've been wrong. When it comes to James Cameron, people like to look at pretty things. Well, in the case of Batman, people wanted to see Michael Keaton, who nobody believed was going to be a good Batman, be a great Batman. And he was. He was even a great Batman in the worst Flash movie ever created on planet Earth. But look, let's set all of that aside and just look at this as, whether or not these are good numbers or not. And according to our friends at Cosmic Book News, and I agree, the international numbers aren't good, but the domestic numbers are very good. And I think that this is a problem that you pointed out, that people just need to have to, feel comfortable and rebuild trust with DC. They are losing faith, and if they haven't already, in Marvel. But that's a different conversation. But we always want to compare, different entities, even if they're not in the same genre. So we're going to use for comparison Minecraft. That movie got all the way to $955.1 million. It stayed in theaters for extra long, for extra good reasons, despite the fact that there were competitors coming in. The normal ratio is close. The domestic performance of 44% of that box office and 55.6% internationally. Now, normally it's 2 to 1, right? Normally the international box office is twice what the U.S. box office is. But the last couple of big movies, and this is really important to pay attention to because it's showing us a change in a trend. Lilo and Stitch had 41.6 to 58.4. Again, a major change in what our expectations should be as far as performance. And I think the only thing that'll buck that trend is going to be the Avatar Fire and Ash film. Look, Superman versus Batman. If you look at the way these numbers came out, the domestic numbers were not great. 369 million versus 402 million foreign. So you ended up with a worldwide gross of 772 million, and this is going back to what? This is going back a ways now. I want to say 2012. Am I right? For Batman v Superman, or was that Man of Steel?
That was Man of Steel. What was Batman v Superman? That was like
2015 or 16. Yeah. So I'm just saying is like that's many years ago. So I don't know if we're ever going to get back to these 700, 800, 900 million dollar performers that the studios would be happy with. I think they need that $1 billion amount. Regardless, none of this is as relevant as the conversation we're going to have now, which is this good enough to follow Superman up with another Superman film, a Justice League film, or a Justice Gang film, or any of that? Kevin, is this a trend that they should pursue, or is it one that they'll pursue at their own folly?
I think you have to pursue it because it's doing well enough to tell you that the goodwill is out there. You are earning back the trust. This second weekend, the second weekend's proof positive. If this movie fell off the cliff, then I'd say pack it up. Let's try again in another 6 or 7 years. But it showed some growth, and that's phenomenal. Which means something worked. Something really important worked. So sit down, break down what people loved, break down what people didn't like, and get to work on getting a sequel out there. I think part of what killed DC often is they take a long time in between sequels, too much time. So the property cools down. Listen, you think it's something like a Self-Deletion Squad, the first one. The critics absolutely detested it, but the fans liked it, and people kind of forget. Like it got, people liked it. That record did extremely well. There was a definite line in the sand, between where normies versus critics saw it, and they should have probably eked out another one a little bit faster than what they did. Or even just it was nonsense that they took as much time between Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman. There was no reason we didn't have at least another Superman movie in there. You got the 600 million. You probably would have gotten to 8 if you made a different decision at the end of the movie. And the only reason there was the appearance of failures because an executive kept screaming that they were going to make $1 billion when no one expected this movie to make $1 billion. So again, another self-inflicted wound. DC just has to learn. Get these movies out faster, embrace what people like, and just keep it moving. Don't as you like to say, don't make it the bologna sandwich that the Marvel sequels were. But put a little more thought in what you're putting out there. And listen, here's proof positive that this is working. For the first time in how long? 15, 16 years? I think you got to go all the way back to the Dark Knight versus Iron Man. DC is dominating the news cycle. No one is talking about Marvel. No one is talking about the Fantastic Four. We're the only ones talking about Fantastic Four because we can't believe how bad this movie is going to do. There is no expectation low enough apparently to describe how poorly the Fantastic Four is probably going to do. So right now DC is in a spot it hasn't known in forever. So now James Gunn's primary responsibility is to figure out how to follow up this movie with a banger. Do I think that's going to be Supergirl? No. Do I think they should have enough time to fix what they got to fix in Supergirl? Yeah. But right now, your job is to cast a Batman, cast a Wonder Woman, and get me excited for the next 2 movies for the remaining members of the Big Three.
Yeah, I think a surprise talent coming out of the Supergirl film is going to be Lobo, played by that big guy, whatever his name is.
Jason.
That the ladies like, that Momoa fella, the big surfer dude. Anyway, I will say this: I think you're 100% right. I think your assessment's correct, and I'm looking at a problem that they had the same go around with the Superman. Man of Steel film to begin with. They need to follow up with Superman with more Superman, and if they don't, they're missing that opportunity, just as you described. So, Kevin, any final words? Want to tell people where you're going to be, because you're going to be places.
Sure. Get the House of Apollo YouTube channel is coming up soon, so it's there. Go subscribe to it. I promise I'll give you some content soon. We're going to be doing a lot of cool, fun stuff, and all our regular friends will be there. I'm glad to be part of this extended family. And speaking of the extended family, July 25th, Lauren Connor and I are going to be debuting a show on the WWE Pro channel, called what was it? Kevin
Lauren and Apollo.
We changed
Lauren and Apollo.
Times. Lauren and Apollo. So it's going to be me with Lauren Connor. We're going to be again talking about a lot of fun stuff. The audience is going to be integral to that. So we're really looking forward to your participation. So see you guys on Friday night. We're gonna do our best to keep late night alive.
Well, and I will be there to support them, of course, because I believe in Lauren and Apollo. Anyway, we are going to wrap it up. We do want to hear what you have to think. Do you think that maybe Superman is going to do what it needs to do to qualify itself to make more? Do you think that DC just needs to retool and realize that they're going to have to rely more on their heavy hitters than they ever have before, at least until they get things going back in full swing? And do you think that Supergirl will turn out to be a film that nobody expected and might do better than, well, even I have an idea about? Let us know those thoughts down in the comments section below. Double check you're still subscribed to the channel. Hit the thumbs up button. Share this video around there. And again, leave me all the comments you possibly can, because I will try to get back with you. On that note, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya! Maybe it's Superman.